Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for this interview. I would like to begin by asking you about Ukraine. It's been almost 4 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. Do you support the peace plan led by the US? And how many concessions you think Ukraine can make? What's the red line in order for peace to be established?
Well, everybody wants to have peace. First of all, the Ukrainians. And that's why we work hard to achieve this peace. But I have to say the American plan, the 28, is not a peace plan at all. I mean, it means that Putin achieves all his goals. And that is not acceptable. The red lines are clear. The Ukrainians will never give up on free Ukrainian territory. So that is one criteria. The second thing is a general amnesty is not thinkable because remember the war crimes in Bucha. We have to bring justice also to the Ukraine. And the third point is we cannot accept that there are limits for the future Ukraine army because they are the front line between Europe as a free democratic continent and the autocratic system of Putin. That's why they have to have the chance to have a strong army in Ukraine. That are the three criteria we will set as EPP.
And let me put it as simple as I can. Where is the EU in all of this?
The EU was present then in Geneva. You know, the first plan was a shock. I have to be honest about this because Europe was not consulted. Ukraine was not consulted at all. But we made clear all these things will not happen without us. And that's why you cannot make a deal without the European Union sitting on the table. So that's why Geneva was good. The talks were good. We have now a better situation. We have to accept the new world we are living in with Donald Trump, with the way how the American administration is doing things. That's a new reality. And that is a wake-up call for all of us that Europe has to speak with one voice.
There's an EU Council coming up on December 18 in Brussels. I think the most, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the most thorny issue regarding the Ukrainian question is the frozen Russian assets which mostly lie in Belgium. What's going to be the outcome of this?
Well, for me, it's clear. For us, as the biggest party of Europe, it's clear that the costs of this invasion, of this brutal terror from Russia in Ukraine, has to be paid by Russia. That's why the 200 billion euros on the bank accounts in Belgium has to be used. So partially, we need in this moment of time 140 billion for the financing of the Ukraine state. And that message is clear. Not Europeans should pay for it, but Russia should pay for it.
Now, we're talking about how to finance Ukraine to keep going on. But at the same time, there is a problem in the EU economy. We're 2 years after the Letta report, 2 years after the Draghi report. Where are we now? Because we see that great EU economies, such as France, Germany, the UK, which is not in the EU but is in Europe, they face structural problems, debt problems, problems with their budget.
Well, I only can say, let's learn from Greece. You have 2.3% growth rate in this moment of time. Everybody sees Greece today as a winning country, as a symbol for future perspective, for a positive tone for the future. All the administrative reforms, digitalization is really a role model for a lot of other countries. So countries like Germany and France can look to Greece and can have a showcase about how you can develop things in a positive direction. And that is the starting point. Let's reform, let's do things. What we do in the European Parliament at this moment of time is to heal some of the mistakes made by the last mandate from a left-leaning majority in the European Parliament. For example, on the question of too much bureaucracy, on having burden for our industry, or the combustion engine, the famous debate about how cars are driving in the future. Electric is future, but we should not forbid technologies in Europe. It's destroying industries in Europe. And these are the things we are correcting in this moment of time. And then I would say, let's believe in ourselves, because we as Europeans are 450 million consumers. We are a strong economic bloc in this world. If we still strengthen our union of economy, of our single market, then we can have growth.
So the next tool that the EU is ready to use is the SAFE tool for a kind of the rearmament. Now, as we're speaking, there's only a loan part of it. Some leaders, such as Kyriakos Mitsotakis, have argued that there should be a direct payment scheme as well, as we have seen in the RRF. What's your view on that? And also, what's your view on the participation of Turkey in the SAFE program that Tayyip Erdogan has asked for?
Well, on the general approach, you know that the first time in the history of the European Union, Europe as a whole is investing in military investments. That's a huge change. And I want to go further. I think we need really a European pillar of defense. We need a kind of a European NATO. not to become independent. We want to have strong relationships with America, no doubt about this. But we see Washington is not anymore so clear on this. And that means we have to be ready to defend ourselves if needed. Kyriakos Mitsotakis, together with Donald Tusk, proposed a sky shield, so a missile defense shield for the European Union in the east, here in Turkish border, but also to Belarus, to be protected. And that makes sense. But then, if we do it, it's not only about the cost of Greece, by the Greek taxpayers or by the Polish taxpayers. It's a question for all Europeans to finance such kind of investments on our eastern border. This thinking is needed now, and that's why we need now the European Pillar of Defense. And on the Turkish side, on the Turkish question, I'm fully on the side of Greece. So Greece is giving us a clear idea that we have set some criteria. If Turkey wants to join, they have to fulfill the criteria.
So you had a dinner in Athens with Prime Minister Mitsotakis. If you can share some of the things that you discussed in that dinner, and also your general view on the state of the Greek economy as we speak.
Well, first of all, the leadership of Kyriakos Mitsotakis and yesterday's dinner, I really, as a long-standing friend, I really admire what he's doing here, and I also respect, on the other hand, the efforts the Greek society did, because it was not without costs. So we have to be honest about this. And I also like very much that the strong economic growth is also balanced now with a good social welfare policy here in Europe to care about the poorest one in the society. Both things have to come together. And when it is about the main messaging is that Europe is at a crossroad. With America, we feel things are fundamentally changing. I would say Europe is quite alone, and we have to recognize this. We cannot anymore rely on our strongest partner in America as we did it in the last decades. And this kind of turning point must bring us to a situation where we have to do the next step for Europe. And for me, again, it's on foreign affairs. Look to Middle East. Europe was not really present in these conflict times. Also on the defense issues, we need a stronger European voice.
Okay, and now if you can tell us about the successor, on the successor of Mr. Donahue in the chairmanship of Eurogroup. Is Kyriakos Pyrakrakis, the Greek finance minister, a strong candidate for this position?
He is a strong candidate, and he can also argue with the big success story of Greece. And it's also clear if this would happen, we are still in the process, things have to be checked now. But to have then Greece as a former crisis country now in the chance to be considered as a possible leader on the Eurogroup side is a great story. So that's why it's well appreciated, the nomination, but still the process is ongoing.
I have one more question. You're the leading figure in the centre-right in the EU, but in the past few years we see the rise of the far-right and like-minded parties, and we keep seeing it because Marine Le Pen's party is in a very strong position for the elections 2027. Even in the elections in the UK, Nigel Farage seems to be a favourite, even though we're far away from the elections. What's your view of that?
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Farage now in the polls so strong because he was responsible now for the lack of Labour support in Great Britain, because a lot of Polish and others left the country after the Brexit. So what we have to do as centre-right is to believe in ourselves. We are the biggest party of Europe. We are governing on national level. We are governing on European level. We have to solve problems. And we did. Migration, for example, is not a big issue anymore in Europe, because here in Greece you do your job. In Italy we are doing the job to Tunisia. So we stop illegal migration. That's the first thing. We have to speak about the success stories behind. And the second thing is then to show leadership on the big issues. And when in Germany, AfD, or in France, Le Pen is telling people, we don't need Europe, we don't need NATO. Sorry, then we have to stand up and say, that's bullshit, that's not correct. We need solidarity, we need a strong European Union. And then people decide, do you really believe what the populists tell you? Do you really believe that without Europe it's better? And I think people know that we need this European Union, we need this unity in Europe. So to be bold, to be strong in defending our ideas, that is what EPP must do in this moment of time. And Greece shows that we can be successful, and we show on European level that we are successful.
And one last question, there's a vivid debate in Greece in the past few days, because former Prime Minister Tsipras, he issued a book, like kind of an autobiography. And what I would like to ask you, not to comment that, I'm sure you haven't had the time to read the book, it's in Greek anyway so far, but how close really Greece came back 10 years ago in 2015 when there was a Syriza and Independent Greeks coalition government to exiting the Eurozone?
Okay, it was, Wolfgang Schäuble, the debates in this 10 years ago, it was very, very real in a way, the threat there. And that's why the outcome of the Tsipras government, I think, is for everyone, European-wide, but also inside of the Greek societies, quite obvious. It was a chaotic situation at the end of his government. So that's why I think it's quite ambitious to tell people that now he has learned everything and will make things different. But it's up to the Greek people to decide about these issues. For us, it's not so much to compare ourselves with the competitors. That's also on European level the same with socialists and liberals and others. What we have to do is to lead, and what we have to do is to give proper answers in this not easy moment of time, to be honest. It's not an easy political landscape, but we have to give proper answers, and then people will respect leadership and good outcome.